do you turn your invention into a business? So thank you, Warren, for our earlier presentation. And now I'm switching gears to Anjuli. And so who are we? I was just on, but for sake of anyone who's tuning in, Director of Kid Invent Mentors. I am also a product developer. I am a registered nurse, and I'm a director of this company called Inventing, which is my innovation company. Very passionate about empowering the next generation. And again, for the curious inventors, we have a program that taps into global challenges and teaching you innovation through that. Or we have a program for someone who has an invention and just is really excited to show the world, and they just don't know the steps. So we're available to help you with that. And today I have asked Anjuli to come on and co-present with me because we each have different strengths and skills, and together I think we make a pretty good team. And so I'll let you present yourself.
Everybody, my name is Anjuli Johnson. So just a little bit about me. What I do now is I actually am Director of Entrepreneur Services. I also work as a business consultant, but I work with adult inventors. And so with everything, I'm right now working with a lot of inventors that are working in the blue tech, clean tech industries, but really just really an invention and helping people to be able to build that platform around it. In my earlier years in my career, I was a founder for a couple of different types of businesses. Lamplight Learning Education and Enrichment Center was a learning center. I also worked in public health and then international education. So really just, the learning part of it, being able to help people, be able to create. My biggest inspiration and just excitement is to be able to, sky's the limit, be able to help everybody, kind of bring their vision, their ideas into, what their goals are in a reality. So really excited to be able to work and continue to work with inventors and entrepreneurs. And thank you, Suzi, for inviting me today. I was really excited to hear about this as well. So thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So product, if you have a product, how do you get it ready? You're excited, you joined a competition. There happens to be a competition going on today. So say you're one of the contestants in this competition and you really think that your product is the next Elon Musk product or any improvement within the world. And how do you get it ready? Well, you need to research again. What is the competition? What is the market? Is there a need for what you're coming up with? So you have to figure out, is the competition exactly like yours or different? How do you make yours stand out? You have to know who would want to buy this very brilliant thing that you have come up with. What types of people are interested in purchasing your product? You have to make sure that, has someone else patented it? Because if so, you have to do something different with it because you cannot copy a patent that already exists. Prototyping and testing. If you were on a few minutes ago, you know that this is very important to make sure that you test and you prototype to make sure that it at least works how you expect it to work. And if it doesn't, then you make improvements to make that happen. Then you have to figure out how you're going to market what you are selling or market yourself. There's different avenues to how you bring things to market. And so based on those avenues, which we'll get to in a minute, you have to take different approaches to reaching out to companies and marketing. And then how much is it going to be to make this product? Regardless of the path you take, you have to understand how much all the different pieces, parts are to make your innovation. Okay, so there are a couple business models that people who have inventions have or will take. One is called licensing and one is called venturing. So what are those? Those are kind of, venturing in particular is a little scary word, but we're going to talk about it. So licensing is, you have an idea and you show it to companies after you get your provisional patent, I'll say that. And you show them what you have, and if they like it, they will take it, they will make it, they will market it, and they will sell it. And so you don't have to take on all these pieces. And what do you get when you do that? There's something called a royalty. So you'll get a little bit of money every time it sells. You still own the idea, and you're basically letting them borrow it from you for a period of time. And that is what licensing is. Then there's venturing. What is venturing? Well, you're starting a business from the very beginning to the end. So now you have to find the money to make it. You have to find your manufacturer. You have to create a business plan. You have to sell it. You have to find the customers. You have to market. And then you have to continue to make sure it's running, because without you, it won't go anywhere. So it requires quite a bit of time. And so this takes a lot more time to do than the other model, but it depends what you desire, what you want, and you have to find the best fit for you. So here's kind of a comparison. So in venturing, you're the boss. You get to make all the decisions, which sounds so exciting, to be the boss. You get all the money. You get all, people get to know you and your name. And you get to talk to the customers directly. But there's a big risk if it doesn't work, if it fails. You have to put money up front. It is a lot of time. And so that is something to really consider. And you have to worry about what the competition is doing. And then on the licensing side, you have a steady amount of money coming in because the company is doing the work for you. It's less risky. You can be working on other projects at the same time as this one is working. So it gives you an opportunity to do that. You will spend less initial time. And then on the bad side is you don't get all the money. You have to share it. You don't get to make every decision. You get to have some say, but the company has some of the last decisions. You have to rely on your partner company, and then these deals don't last forever. So when your licensing deal is done, then you take it over and then you make some decisions. Maybe at that point you go and decide to venture it, which Anjuli is going to talk a lot more about. So there's some options here for you. So I'm going to flip it over to Miss Venturing.
Okay, so yes, there are a lot of different things about venturing, or the big question that we ask in, on the business side, and when we talk to inventors, is that, are you going to be a product or a business? And where does that journey, where's your goals, where's your vision for this product, start and end, and whatnot. And definitely what Suzi was saying about licensing, about, how, you do have, you can have a lot of help, you can, there is a difference. The big part of the business, part of it is that, you created this business, you created this product for whatever reason. So, what problem was it solving? What was the inspiration behind it? And the thing that I like about the business is that you get to create an entire platform around it. So you get to, explain to people and tell people, put your story out there. Why did you do it? What was your purpose? What was your vision? How do you want people to use it? Or sometimes with, if you do, sell it or license it, you don't have as much control over, how the public gets it, how they, what the packaging is, what it looks like. And so there's a lot of, cooks in the kitchen, so to speak. The other part, and then I'm ready, Suzi, if you want to sit down.
There we go.
So a big part of it. And so the big thing is, yes, there's, the licensing and you can kind of sign your name and sign it over. But the other thing is with the business, once you've created that platform, whether you decide, okay, this is something I really want to do, and I'm really, inspired and I want to create many editions. I want to, have, different versions. I want to do it for, different people. And that's where that would be your legacy. But talking about value prop. And so based on this, I found this little picture. Value prop, no matter what you end up doing, whether it's building your business around your product or licensing, your value propositions in these questions are very important. So for anyone who's going into this, it's what do you offering? Explain what your product and service is. What's the value? Who's going to find value in this? So all of these are really important, and no matter what, whether it's licensing or business, you will still need to really help to identify these type of topics. And so this is something that I work with entrepreneurs and inventors very heavily into. This helps to create your brand, your market, as well as really, even if, to have people pick up your, interested in your product to even license and wanting to, buy it from you, you still will need to have these type of questions answered. So very important. Okay, so the next thing is venture. And so then, talking about the venturing part, which is a business. So we talked a little, you saw the value propositions. The next one is the business plan and blueprint. And so really, kind of having that roadmap of, where you're starting. You have a product, and then it's, those pieces. How are you going to sell it? How are you going to, what's the, how, let's say you have an order for, 100, 5. I mean, really, it's anywhere, you might be fine with 5, but I have people then all of a sudden sell it to big corporations. And now they went from having to, be able to operate under creating 5 of them. And now they need 2,000 of them. So this business blueprint is really your operations, what, how are you going to get that out the door? And then what you're going to do next. So I always make a plan of, the first year, the second year, and the third year. Marketing, I think marketing is really fun. It's branding, it's people getting to, my goal. I mean, if you guys see, the Apple, you think of an iPhone, you think of Apple TV, you think of all that. Those are all branding. And so, what do you want people to think of when they see your product, and that kind of thing. So really important, really fun. And whatnot. So definitely a huge part of marketing. It's something that is always continuous. So it's from the beginning all the way to, years and years into it. Finances, yes, finances is going to be an important part. It's how do you get started? So whether, it's, you invest in your own product, you have, friends and family to help invest, but then, you can definitely have grants. There's grants, there's banks, there's foundations. So there's lots of options to help you get started in your venture. So, but this all just touches upon it. But the biggest thing is, as you guys are going into your inventions and whatnot, definitely, looking at the value proposition and business plan blueprint is really, will really kind of help you create that foundation. And I always say, building a business is like building a house. You need to, so the fun part, you can create your own empire, but you definitely need to, you're basically building the walls, you're building the roof, you're building, the floor. So there is a lot of time and investment, but it's, I think it's worth it. So, and then I'm ready for the next. Okay. And then this one right here is, at the end. So, again, this is another thing that, you still have to be able to present your product, whether it's, you're looking for people to, buy it off, take it off your hands and buy it from you from licensing. This is what a pitch deck would look like. Introduction, team, the problem, advantages. So these are all different categories that would, you would be basically breaking down your business idea or even your licensing idea. So, who is it for? What's behind it? What's the problem you're solving? Advantages. So if you were looking for someone to invest in your, invest in your product or your invention, you would have to, you'd want to be able to describe these to, to people, to investors, to people that would be able to say, yep, here you go. Here's $2 million, here's $10 million, and whatnot. Sky's the limit. So, and that kind of thing. But this also would, then go into a business plan. So it really is, as much as, the licensing stops at a certain point, you still really do need to, this is kind of a core piece of what you would be doing in terms of really creating that platform for your product.
Absolutely. And I would just like to add, there are several product developers out there who start with a licensing plan, and then they decide when their product contract has expired, they want to continue to make it, and then they flip into this model. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do this, or you can license to one company, but then still have the rights to sell at other places. So there's a lot of different ways that you could do both. It gets a little tricky, but we just wanted to lay out essentially, this is kind of what it looks like when you want to bring something to market. Neither are easy, but it's good to understand what are the different parts and pieces of it all. Thank you for that, Anjuli. And then how do you contact us? Well, I'm at Kid Invent Mentors, and then Anjuli has her Gmail account, and we would be happy to support you, answer questions. It was a lot of material. This is not always very easy to understand, but I'm hoping we gave you a little bit of an idea of what this looks like. And so if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer.
Thank you so much. That was a great presentation for sure. Very informative. Does anyone have any questions? All right. Well, I have a question. I'll go. Can you explain to the audience? I've been through this process several times, and it took me several times to understand. When you go to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office and you submit a provisional patent, and then there's a full patent, and can you explain the differences and what that process looks like, and maybe, I don't know, any other advice you would have to someone going through that process?
Sure. I'll take this one if that's okay. Okay, so what is a provisional patent? It's very confusing. This patent world is very scary. I can tell you it took a while to really have it sink in. But what a provisional patent is you tell the patent office, hey, patent office, I have this idea and I am putting myself in line. So imagine a grocery store line, and you're the first one in line with this idea. So you send off your provisional patent application to the patent office and say, this is my idea. So if anyone behind me in line has that same idea, I get to say that I want to take that idea and turn it into a full patent at some point, and I get to go first because I was first in line to do it. So all the people behind me, even if they had the same idea, I still get to go first. I get up to 12 months to see if there's any interest in my product before I go and spend all this money on a full patent. Patents are very expensive. And so you get up to 12 months to, it's called shopping it around and seeing, is there interest? What is the feedback people are giving you? Do you need to make changes in that time before you decide to go and make a full patent application? Now, on the licensing side, sometimes companies will actually pay to have your patent filed, but it's still in your name. So again, they're borrowing it from you. So sometimes you can negotiate that in. A provisional patent is $65. That is it. And so it's worth filing a provisional patent for $65 to get up to 12 months that you can shop around and see if there is anyone interested. I do recommend you do a patent search beforehand, before you file, and have help probably filing. Because once you put that into the patent office, it really goes into a drawer and no one ever looks at it again until you say, okay, I'm in line, my 12 months are up, and now I am ready to file a full patent. Then they'll take it out of the drawer and they'll start looking. But until that, it's just holding your place in line. Does that make sense?
Yes, that was a good differentiator there. That was excellent.
Okay. great.
What advice would you give to, we have a lot of young people who may not have the support at home and understand how to even outreach to folks like you all. What are some things that perhaps educators or people who are supporting these young people could do to help them along this path?
Help find resources for them or just
Just
guide
to
them?
help them, if they have an idea and they want to do something with it, what can they do to help them sort of just get through the steps that you've outlined?
Um, Anjuli, do you have any thoughts on that? I'm happy to take it, but
I can too, but you go for it and I can just follow up.
well, so with anything, there's research, right? I would recommend first starting to research, like what are some of the resources? I know like the patent office, like back to that prior question, they actually have a segmentation within the patent office that's specific for young adults that they kind of do some breaking down of the patent process. So there's a resource there. I also know that libraries, back to the patent, they have librarians can support you in that. There's free resources at colleges also available. There's like pro bono work for patents for people who can't afford them, and that's all patent talk. But in general, I would recommend research. I'm really big into AI and really understanding how that can help you, because it's amazing the world that can open up if you know what to ask. And so those are some of my thoughts. I mean, the other thing is network. Who do you know? Like if you have a student like who is interested in innovation, this is a prime example, like who's been on here, or it's always who do you know? Somebody knows somebody who can help guide. I know Rebecca does a publication. So there's all kinds of people who do all sorts of things, and it's just kind of tapping into your network. And your network is really one of the best ways. There's, again, YouTube and different avenues, but those are my thoughts. Anjuli, do you have anything to say there?
Say this quick. I know you guys have to go, but so a couple, I did put it into the chat. So biggest thing for ideas and getting these ideas fleshed out, especially as educators and for kids, adults, really, but inventors, they have an idea. So help to flesh this out, help to, who is it for? Like we call it client discovery, but who is this geared towards, like ages, and whatnot, and really flourish and help them flourish those ideas out. We call them fleshing them out. I did put, so that stuff I put into chat, which is great, is there is a value prop canvas. And so if you Google that, you'd find templates, and it's different diagrams. I mean, there's a million stuff out there, but the biggest thing is just keep that ideas and creativity, and and that really will, I mean, sometimes my job is to take, ideas that come here and then really help to really hone in and help them to hone in on, how can we really make this happen? So, yes, people are coming from all different, different angles and backgrounds and support, but they can definitely still get these ideas out there. The other one is, so, those two templates are really, really helpful. And then there's a lot of organizations. I work with a lot of organizations that are free, that, that will, listen to ideas and whatnot. So you're on mute.
Michelle, sorry, we can't hear you.
Can I ask a question? Thanks, Anjuli.
Yes, absolutely.
Sure,
With,
go ahead, Lauren.
With inventors and creative people, I find that often they have a great idea, and you've given us some truly great strategies to go ahead. One of the things is that being a creator and inventor, that's kind of what we do, but we need to build a team around us sometimes before we can go to investors and the rest of it. What's your strategy for, say you've got a great idea, how do you start building a team around you? Like, it doesn't have to be a great team of 100 people, but sometimes you need a couple of really key people who have skills that complement yours. How do you go about doing that process? Well, what's a good idea to start that process?
So I guess it depends on, what the invention or the industry, but the big thing is like, I'm happy to send some materials out after because I've created these templates, but it's really, the big thing is like, who's the key player? So not just like, who is this for and what's the problem it's solving, but who are the key players that are involved? Because that one is, yes, they have ideas and they can do this, but they can only get so far without, they're going to need somebody who knows the manufacturing or knows this and that. And so it's really helping to, know what they have, know what they need, and then how do we then start to really, build those avenues for them and whatnot. So like I said, I'm happy to send more information because I have, there's a million templates out there and it's really what speaks to you, but it really is helpful because and a lot of things within, sometimes people will say, oh, invention and investors, but honestly, there is so much that happens between that. And it's really important and it's almost just as important as the end as the investors. So I work with inventors that really to help flesh all that out, all the, okay, you have this great prototype or this idea, and then how do we move you, okay, from that idea, okay, like how are you gonna, I have people who are in their garage trying to, do this and say, okay, great, you can do 5. And then now, what do you need to get ready? And so that means, and I ask them what the process is. So really breaking down each step. What they need. So like, if you from your head to, to paper, to the product, to, people who are like, okay, and I'll ask them, okay, why'd you use that material? And I want them to give me 10 reasons of, and they might not know why this one worked, but they know what didn't work. And that sometimes is the best way to do it is, what doesn't work? What don't you want it to be? What isn't? And that way that helps to, make sure that they, it's what they, it stays on the path in their vision as opposed to, oh, it has to be this. Well, what can it be? Because that way, why you chose that. And investors are going to ask that as well. And like, and stuff like that. So hopefully I helped. Sorry.
Well, no, thank you, Anjuli. Thank you. That was a wonderful answer. Thank you. Very helpful.
Thank you.
Wonderful presentation.
Thanks.
I caught about the last half hour, so I caught yours, Anjuli's, and a little bit of Warren on yours, Susan. It was great.
Thanks.
I learn more every time I listen to you. Thank you very much. I know that, Anjuli, thank you for joining us today.